to infinity and beyond.
Everyone, it's Roger and James here from the DisKingdom podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking all about Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic coming to Xbox One and a host of other games that they have brought to the system as well. So first off, let's say this is an original Xbox game. Now, this is not Xbox One. This is not Xbox 360. The original Xbox from way back 15 years ago. They released about 13 classic games. It was a bit of an odd one because when I do think back to the Xbox, none of my Xbox games that I had, because I did have that big brick when that came out. I did buy one at launch and I did play it. I played a lot of WWF Raw at the time on that one. I do remember that one being, because that was like the best looking wrestling game ever on the Xbox. So Xbox are continuing this trend of going back into their archives and bringing everything backwards compatible. If you already have purchased it on the 360, I don't think the Xbox you could have done it digitally anyway at the time. So they've got this thing of they want to bring in their back catalogue and bulk everything out. And I think it's been very successful in terms of what money it brings in for old games. It also makes their library look better. It also gives a little kind of two-finger salute to Sony for the way that they do stuff.
It's a one-finger salute in America, just for American listeners.
Yes. There's a number of times when guests have kind of done something that's like, no, you can't do that one over here. But also this kind of thing of, it wouldn't surprise me if they started getting offered during Xbox Live, the monthly sort of games for gold thing. But Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic was pretty much front and center, was the main game at the front of their image, the one that everyone's been excited about, the one everyone's been showing off. I'm going to be honest, I haven't purchased it. The reason I haven't purchased it was, well, let's be honest, it's a little bit of a busy period for video games this month.
This quarter.
Yeah, this quarter is just insane. And as someone who never played it and has been wanting to play it for, it's always been that game that kind of kept coming up as the best Star Wars game ever. I actually figured I do want to buy it, but there was no point me starting it this side of Christmas because I've just got so many games on the go at the moment. It's me, Mario, and it's so I think it's completely great to have all these games coming through, and Knights of the Old Republic has been giving an upgrade. I mean, I love the fact they're trying to push it that it looks the best on the Xbox One X, and it's
that's not true, but that's
it's a €15 game. It looks a little bit better. It doesn't look quite so jagged around the edges, but it's not a remaster. It's just they've got more processing power, so it looks a little bit better. But what did you think of it?
This is great news in general. Getting more and more backwards compatible titles and going all the way back to the Xbox era. There's no downside to this unless they took resources away from another project, which is now crippled because of it. But I don't think that's the case. I haven't played Knights of the Old Republic in 12 years or something like that. I didn't get it on the Xbox. I didn't have an original Xbox. I did get it on PC when it came out a couple months later. And I played through it and love it. This is one of my favorite BioWare games of all time. That said, I don't think it has aged all that well. No. I did try again. I picked up on Steam a couple years ago, played maybe 45 minutes, and you can definitely tell that this is a game that is 14 years old.
Yeah.
The interface is different. It's a little bit clunky. It's not as smooth. A lot of the things that we take for granted in our games aren't there. So, like you said, it's not a remaster. This is a straight just pop the disc in or download the game, and you will get the Xbox, regular Xbox experience out of this game, which includes, I assume, buttons that have different. Because I remember playing this or Crimson Skies on Xbox 360 because that had backwards compatible. And it's like, hit the black button to do this. I'm like, wait, what button?
Yeah.
Hit the white button. And eventually I was like, oh, that's start select, which only people from our generation will even know what start select is anymore. But that's beside the point.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because I own it on Steam but never played it. I got it in one of those one of those Star Wars Steam bundle things, but I just don't play on PC to make it work for it. It's priced $8.99. I'm hoping that it'll probably go on sale or it'll be on some kind of offer. I expect at some point with some Star Wars stuff coming up. But again, there's just so much out. I mean, I've got so many games on the go at the moment. They've still got some big games coming up. I mean, literally, just from the Disney side, we have got 4 games pretty much in November. You know, that's a lot of content coming up. So that's why I've personally held back, because at the end of the day, it's not a new game. I'm just going to go through some of the other games here that were released as part of it. We have got, Grass and Ghouls or something? I can't even see it. We got Blood Rain, Pirates, Psychonauts Black, Crimson Skies, Ninja Gaiden Black. We have got King of the Fighters, Fusion Frenzy, Dead Rights, Red Faction 2, and Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. Now, as an original Xbox owner, I never had a single one of them. I don't know these classic games. I must have missed every single one of them. I just remember buying things like Splinter Cell and I think a few other games on it. And I always remember that Xbox controller being like a dinner plate. It was massive.
See, I never played with the original Xbox controller, so I have no idea. The only games on this list, other than Knights of the Old Republic, that are familiar to me, even on like a basic level, are like Red Faction 2, Prince of Persia, Crimson Skies, which I have played and I loved, and I desperately want a sequel to, and then Black and Ninja Gaiden. But I'm not familiar with these specific games within that series. Some of them, you know, they're classic titles, they're well recognized titles, and then other ones you're like, well, Grabbed by the Ghoulies? What the heck is this nonsense? I think maybe they stuck that one in just because, like, ooh, it's Halloween. Here you go.
It's cool to see them kind of going back to that era and bringing... Because I was thinking like Xbox is a little bit like... It wasn't really PlayStation 2. It was kind of like a cross between PlayStation and PlayStation. So I like the fact of them bringing these games in. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see loads more Disney titles, because they've been very, very friendly with the 360, with the backwards compatible ones. Disney are quite happy to have old titles just be resold on the market. The trouble is, a lot of the times, they don't age very well. No. And I always feel like that generation of PS1, PS2, Xbox probably comes in that same era. They don't age as well as, like, I feel like the 16-bit and 8-bit era did. They were simple and they worked, whereas this first era, you know, with so much of today's modern life, we're used to the cameras and the way and all those little things they learned along the way have all been eased away. These are going to be pretty jagged experiences because things have moved on, but I love the fact that they're doing it.
Well, it's not even just that things have moved on. Like, we've got the breadcrumb trail in games now, and, you know, there's expectations. When you hit a target in a first-person shooter, like, you'll get a damage indicator on the screen, like a little splash around. It's not even stuff like that. Some of these games are so old that they won't have standardized control schemes. I was playing a very old or original PlayStation or PlayStation 2 title, and it's like, well, we put the camera controls on the X button, and your jump button is like R2, and like, who thought this was a good idea? But then I realized these controls were there before, you know, it became like industry standard. Okay, square is going to do that, triangle is going to do this, and it can be very confusing jumping back into these games where you're just like, I don't know. And hopefully it's not too confusing here, because I think the controller layouts are pretty much the same, but you could still end up in a situation where it's like, hit the X button. Oh, this isn't the X button. The X button's actually the Y button.
There's a big
stuff
X
like that.
button in the middle that you used to have to press. But it's the one thing I feel like with this kind of stuff of, while I think Xbox are, I mean, it kind of feels a bit like they're trying to create like a Steam model where they've got they've got everything all under one roof. And I think this is good, but everything's a bit slow. And not everything's compatible. It's a bit here and miss. But they're definitely going in a different direction, and I think this is just a little. They've done this on purpose to remind everyone with the Xbox One X coming out that, oh, look what we do. We look after you guys. It's like, yeah, you're very good. You've released a load of old games. You've got no exclusives coming up this season at all. It's like smoke and mirrors, and you know, every time I see like Microsoft kind of throwing a little bit of sort of shade at Sony, it's like, you're throwing shade, but you've got nothing. You're not. My Xbox is going to get fired up. I haven't quite got around to playing Cuphead again. It's on one of my list of games to play. But we've got, you know, Disneyland and Rush coming out which again, just re-releases. That's all they are. And then we've got Star Wars Battlefront, and the only reason I'm going to play it on my Xbox is because of EA Access for a week. And I'll be honest, this is the same situation. If they've gotten, they aren't pushing forward, and this backwards compatible stuff is a very good way of filling up your games library without actually looking like you've done a lot.
Backwards compatibility from when we used to make good games.
Yes.
So, I love my Xbox, and as I've mentioned many times on this podcast before, if it's not a first-person shooter, the Xbox is probably going to be my console of choice or my platform of choice for most of these games. Slowly working towards the Switch, but the Switch isn't getting the major releases, so that's kind of not an option in most cases. But yeah, the exclusives list on the Xbox One really needs a kick. It really needs something. It needs, because PlayStation 4 right now, even in just this past year, has been crazy good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the backwards compatibility. I'm super excited to jump back into Knights of the Old Republic again, especially since I've never played the sequel.
Yeah.
Now I know the sequel's not on this list eventually, but it's got to be one of their top priorities. In as far as this is a priority for them. And I would love to play through both of them again. But that is like a 200-hour commitment. So
yeah, and this is again comes back to my big issue of this thing of so many games, so many good stuff coming out, and I've got a pile of games I haven't finished yet, and I'm keep getting distracted with all the nice new shiny ones. It's that thing of, do I play a 15-year-old game, or do I play something that's brand new that's come out now? That's the thing. And also, it's like replaying games. There's just too much out there. It's like, do you go cinema to go watch Full Ragnarok, or are you going to go to the cinema to watch, 4, the original? It's that thing of, if you've only got so much time and so much money, you kind of want to see the new thing rather than something you've already done before. And I love the fact that they are doing this, but it just literally was just like that week of when I've got I've got 3 games coming out in like a week. I have not got time for this game.
In fairness, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is 14 years old. It's going to be the same game today as it is a year from now. So, we get that that whole, let's get through the holidays here. Let's play our Shadows of War, Mario Odyssey, Battlefront 2, maybe Call of Duty, whatever people want to play, but if we end up having a little bit of a lull in February, March, April, which we might not, who knows? We haven't really had lulls in the past, but these games will be waiting for you. You don't have to wait for DLC for Knights of the Old Republic. It's not coming.
No.
So,
or I can just fire up Kingdom Hearts 2 and try and get through that again. But
good luck.
On that note, we'd love to know what you guys think of Xbox One bringing all these classic games, and what games from the Xbox would you like to see brought back to the Xbox 360 or Xbox One? Because I think there might be a few Disney titles in there that they can kind of bring up to it, which might be a fun way of doing stuff. We'd love to know your thoughts. As per usual, you can check us out on social media and on our Facebook group, DisKingdom Gaming. You can also find us over at DisKingdom.com. And if you are there, remember to kind of follow us on all the little subscribe things, do the RSS feed, whichever way you kind of keep up with the latest. Facebook, like us, things like that, all really does help. And if you are on iTunes or anything like that, you can also leave us a review there. James, where can they find you?
I'm at heroiclegacy.com.
And on that, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. Later.